supposed to be something else besides the same as?
Will you also flip, flip that one?
Where was the settings that you were talking about to check the
Ready?
voice levels on Zoom?
Our audio is,
We don't have any audio on.
On Zoom.
Yeah, there's a more menu.
I mean, I guess we could start. It just, our Zoom
The Zoom is just
is
not working.
not working for a second.
Mike's here working on it. You can try.
Audio settings.
They can't hear us. I don't know.
It's just wigging out on the microphone like you go to choose a different one and it pops up for the copy.
I don't think he knows.
Just don't think it's detecting it.
Oh, yes.
I know. Okay, let's see. Is that volume? I see that the volume button is way down.
It's not connected to, I don't know, it's not picking up the right microphone.
That's what I'm thinking.
How many people do we have on Zoom?
Just Sue and Rick Heffelbauer. Not that they're not.
Maybe tell them to watch it on Facebook Live.
I can't put it on Facebook Live without Zoom.
Oh, you can't? Could we go ahead and get
Hello.
started? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you to the Washington County Board of Commissioners meeting. We apologize for the minute delay as we are trying to figure out Zoom audio. Today, as we start our meeting, we're honored to have Shadman Bashir here from the Muslim Faith and Interfaith Council to offer us our invocation. After our invocation, we have our own Sheriff Nate Brooksby who will lead us in our pledge. Shadman?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful for you guys to invite me, and also I just want to talk about the great work that the Interfaith Council does, not just for the community, but for our Dixie, soon to be University students as well. So it's a quick prayer, and since we are coming across a time when the water is going to be I have an accent. Water is going to be a situation in the state, so I wanted to add the water part in there as well. So I'll quickly start. O Allah, for all that we should have thought and have not thought, for all that we should have said and have not said, for all that we should have done and have not done, we pray Allah for forgiveness. O Allah, give water to your slaves and your livestock, and spread your mercy and revive your dead lands. O Allah, shower us with abundant rain, beneficial, not harmful, swiftly and not delayed. O Allah, bless those who left us, have mercy on those who are among us, fill the lives of those who will come after us with bliss. We pray for forgiveness. Amen.
Amen. Thank
you very
you.
much.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it. And if you noticed, myself and Commissioner Snow are a little more casual today because it is Fair Week.
No,
And-
it's because I'm winning. Slowly, I'm winning.
Oh, that's
pushing
right.
This.
He's
I
pushing
will
the
be
envelope.
victorious eventually.
Very good. Well, as we start off today's meeting, we're going to start with our consent agenda. The consent agenda is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than request to remove items, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is non-debatable.
Mr. Chair, my motion to approve the consent agenda items are as follows. Item A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for April 6, 2022 through April 19th, 2022. Item B, consideration of regular commission meeting minutes of April 5th, 2022. C, consideration of administrative adjustments for real property. D, consideration of administrative adjustments for personal property. E, consideration of payment plan for settlement of property taxes, of which there were 9. Item F, consideration of public defender agreements to provide public defense services for indigent defendants in the 5th Judicial District Court for 2022. That's my motion.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Our
Mr.
next item is actually,
Chair,
yes, please.
a moment of order. Can we move item number 11 to follow item 5? So it would become the new item 6 for brevity.
Okay, very good. We have a motion to amend the agenda and move item 11 right behind item number 5.
Yes, please.
And I second that.
We have a motion and a second to amend the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Thank you, Commissioner.
Sorry.
Our next item is actually a special recognition award. I'd like to ask Sheriff Nate Brooksby if he could come up.
Sergeant Cashin. So he may or may not have a clock on his phone that literally said 4 days and 58 minutes till he hits his 20 years, just before we came into here. So do you have your, yeah,
This,
oh, the award, yeah.
yes,
okay.
that's a great.
Mug shot.
No, it's been good. So these longevity awards have been good. Basically, reaching mile markers. So in law enforcement, those that got in before 2010 were tier 1. So when we hit our 20 years, we can retire. In the system now, the newer generation, they have to put 25 years in. So Daryl's 4 days and 53 minutes from hitting his 20-year mark, which is a good relief. So one thing, I've worked with Sergeant Cashin the majority of my career. I remember when he was a reserve and he would ride with Sheriff Pulsifer, who was a sergeant back in the day. So a lot of memories, but one thing that stands out is Daryl's commitment to search and rescue.
Yep.
So Daryl lives, sleeps, breathes search and rescue. He's on the hook 24/7. If a search and rescue comes anywhere in the county, dispatch calls Daryl directly, whether it's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning. That's a lot of pressure, right? But his schedule is very flexible. But how he cares about those assignments and our volunteers. So he said many times, hey, if I expect my people to be there, I expect to be there too. So 95% of the calls, Daryl's there in person. If not, he's running logistics with getting helicopters or getting live flight dispatch, getting the teams paged out. Just done a phenomenal job. He's a perfect fit for that situation. You know, he's had dive experience, swiftwater experience. He teaches EMS as well, so they're doing a EMT class right now, 135-hour class. We have about 18 people going through, so some of our full-time employees and our search and rescue volunteers. So he's just had a lot of buy-in over the years, and I just want to tell him how much we appreciate him, and congratulations on your 20 years.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm going to give him a break. I'll do the SAR report so he doesn't have to.
Okay.
So as he was putting this report together yesterday, we had 2 more calls that came in that didn't make it on this report. So busy time of the year with all the recreation in Washington County. So this last month, we had a total of 12 calls. We're to 34 incidents for 2022. And for your information, county residents were 9. We had 3 out-of-county residents, and then 14 that were residents not within the state of Utah, so from out of town and no international. So we tracked those just kind of for curiosity's sake. But common areas, so Red Mountain, obviously Bear Claw Poppy, Snow Canyon. We get quite a few up on Water Canyon over Hilldale area. People get ledged up. Or now with the heat, yesterday the heat was one of the reasons we went out. People decide that they want to go hike over Red Mountain and just take one bottle of water, that's not going to cut it when it's 90 degrees outside. So another friendly reminder to our citizens to be prepared when you're going to go and recreate in Washington County. So that's about it.
Thank you so much, Sheriff.
And we'll see y'all at the fair in a little bit.
Yes.
The fair parade, right?
Yes.
At 6 o'clock in Washington City.
The sheriff will be there with us, and let's see, Under Sheriff is going to be driving us, or?
He's gonna be driving in the Hummer, so.
Oh, that's going to be
He's got some
fun.
experience from his military days.
Oh, we like that. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you.
Our next item is consideration of ratification of a purchase request. No, actually, yeah, that is. I was getting it mixed up with number 4. Ray, it is good to see you.
Hi. So this ratification is for the Dixie Center, and it is for a sound system that needs to be replaced, and that needed to be done before Ironman. So in order to get the pieces and parts and all the equipment ordered, we needed to get on it right away. So everything's been pre-approved and everything, and just need to do the public announcement. So this is for loudspeakers, amplifiers, battery backups, cables, paint, installation, and programming and training. And this is for a total of $172,850.
And it replaces a bunch of very old equipment.
It does,
So I
yes.
make the motion to approve that purchase order.
Yeah, I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to ratify this purchase request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes.
Ready for the rest?
Yes, please.
Okay. The first few are for tourism. This first one is for Ironman Impacted Business Ad Campaign. This is a blanket PO for $20,000. The next one is for printing and postage for Ironman publication. This is for $28,225. Next one is for promo items. This is going to be the final payment for the photo cubes. This is $17,731.84. This next one is for the Dixie Center. This is a replacement of the door access system. It's becoming outdated in a safety issue, so it's time for that to be replaced. This is a total of $19,645. The next one is for the cooling tower replacement for the Dixie Center. This is to provide and install the unit for $208,200. The next one is for our IT department. This is for a fiber channel license and hardware and software support for $14,556.43. This is for the new administration building. For the roads department, this is for the chips. This is for the chip seal projects, and in conjunction with some new roads that they're doing. This is for 3/8 inch chips and 3/4 inch chips, all for a total of $308,400. The next one is for the oil for these projects, in a total of $1,037,600. Next one is for a Bobcat compact excavator. And this is for $72,147.50. And then the final one is for the sheriff's office. This is a blanket PO for commissary purchases in a total of $60,000. And that should cover the next 3 months.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate
Unless there's any
that.
questions?
Oh,
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the purchase request as presented by Ray.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Thank you. Our next item is consideration of proclamation number 2022-2020 or 22, proclamation declaring April 2022 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Commissioner Almquist?
Well, it's a privilege to represent the Children's Justice Center, and of course, Christy Pike, who is the director over there and does a fantastic job. This proclamation stands to, really draw attention to what's happening over there. And with many whereases in here as far as the April being the National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and that children are vital to the current and future well-being of our county and the world, of course, that abuse and neglect are unacceptable but are present in our community. And whereas it's a complex issue and even our, the best and the brightest are dealing every day with tenderness of the children who are affected, and that the Justice Center leads in a collaborative effort to protect each child, advance justice, and promote healing and educate our community. And that whereas in 2021, they served 401 primary victims, conducted 334 forensic interviews, which basically is one a day, performed 135 medical exams, provided 990 hours of trauma-focused mental health care. 58% of the alleged perpetrators were related to the victim. 102 primary victims were under 7 years old. Now, therefore, we submit to ensuring that every child grows up in a safe, nurturing environment that is free from abuse and neglect. We, the County Commission of Washington County, Utah, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Washington County and urge our citizens to join in preventing child abuse and providing ongoing support for survivors.
Absolutely. Christy?
Thank you. Thanks, Commissioner Almquist. You're always so helpful with all of our mission. I appreciate you letting me come back again. It's not been 6 months since our last VOCA report.
No, but it's,
But I appreciate this opportunity to have April declared as National Child Abuse Prevention Month and Child Abuse Prevention Month here in Washington County as well.
absolutely.
So, thank you.
You know, I had an epiphany, or at least not really an epiphany, but I became aware when we toured the other
Yeah.
day. It's been a week or so ago. I always thought that a lot of your focus was towards the prosecution of the crime, which is part of your focus, but really the focus is also about healing. In fact, most of your effort is focused towards healing and providing that healing that those victims need. And that was something that I hadn't really known before our visit, so thank you for that. So,
Thank you. We're happy to have you anytime.
well, thank you for all you do on this great work.
That's an astounding number.
Yeah.
The 102 were under 7 years old. Many people think naively that, well, I mean, they're children, but children, anybody under 18, so, 12, 14, they're not that that's not a child, because it absolutely is. But under 7 years old is
Yes.
unfathomable.
It is.
And if you can imagine, you can't interview children like you interview anyone else,
No.
because you sadly get attorneys that find the slightest little thing to get an awfully ugly person off scot-free because of a certain question that was asked a certain way and a response that they say, see, leading the testimony. And it's sad to see, but it happens all too often. And
But not here.
But,
It doesn't happen in Washington County.
and I was going to say, but the training that Christy has done with not only law enforcement, but also her own people, and those involved, know exactly how to perform those interviews so that no defense attorney is going to come forward and say, gotcha, not here.
Our forensic interviewer, who is a county employee, Brooke Triplett is her name, she does most of our forensic interviews, is one of the top anywhere. And she trains other people across the state how to do it the way she does it. She follows a very specific evidence-based protocol. So I don't think she's ever had an interview thrown out. She's remarkable. So
I think how we prevented this is awareness, which is the
yeah,
reason we're
which is why
declaring
we're
this.
here.
And I do have to admit, as a parent, I'm very aware of my children and grandchildren, where and who they're with at all times.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little bit
Hypervigilant?
overprotective,
Yeah.
but I think we need to, because
Yeah.
heaven forbid that a child that any of us love would end up in these abuse situations, and it can happen very quickly if parents are not
It
watching
can, but it's not the end of the world. We have resources.
exactly.
So, which is what this next agenda item. So I'll
Very good. Well, we've read the motion and the proclamation.
And I'll second that motion.
And we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. So, let's see, our next,
I
oh,
think
and
you're
then we've
skipping
moved
to
11
is
up.
it 11?
So, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Christy.
So 11 is a charitable land lease between the Friends of the Children's Justice Center and Intermountain Healthcare. Intermountain Healthcare owns the piece of property immediately adjacent to the Children's Justice Center. And about a year and a half, Mitch Cloward from St. George Regional Medical Center and I were sitting down in his office, and we had an epiphany of what would be the best use of that land. And so I've worked with Mitch and others at Intermountain up in Salt Lake, and we are ready to have you sign this lease agreement so that we can expand our campus. Adverse childhood experiences like abuse have been shown to increase the risk for 9 out of 10 of the leading causes of death in Utah, including things you would expect, like suicide, but also things you might not expect, like cancer and Alzheimer's. And so the work that we do at the Children's Justice Center to help buffer the effects of abuse with our mental health services and our medical services in particular can help buffer those effects and buffer the long-term consequences of those effects. And as we look at, even from a public health perspective, if we can intervene early after abuse and help children have the tools that they need to deal with those adverse childhood experiences, we can improve outcomes for our community health into the future, into the long-range future. So that is what this building will be about. It will be about mental health and physical health for children who've been victims of crimes. It will also include some space for our multidisciplinary team and for group kinds of support groups for kids and parents.
Yeah.
So it will fit in with the neighborhood, just like our current Children's Justice Center does. The model of looking and feeling like a home is very much part of our model, and it will be part of this as well. So this is an expansion of our current space.
Fabulous. I remember when Mitch and IHC mentioned this as an opportunity, and it was exciting then, and it's exciting to see it come about. So, item 11.
Mr. Chair, I would love to thank a few people real quick before I read the resolution in. Our attorney, thank you for working diligently on the language. Our county attorney, who has pushed hard, Eric Clark, to make sure that this happens.
And our Friends Board attorney, David Gee, who's
thank
with
you
us.
so much.
He's done a lot of work on it as well.
Great.
So.
Well, combined, they have a great agreement and contract. So with that, I move that we approve resolution number R 2022-2946, approving a ground lease between Intermountain Health Services, Inc. and Washington County.
And I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you so much,
Thank
Christy.
you. See you at the
We've
parade.
Good
said
work.
it before,
Thank
Christy.
you.
We can't say it enough. Thank all of your team.
Yeah.
They do wonderful work.
They do.
Thank you. We're on to item number 6, which is consideration of ordinance number 2022-1206-0, an ordinance adopting and implementing regulations for landscape and water conservation for developing land in Washington County, Utah. Our attorney, Devin Snow.
Thank you, and I have to give credit to my colleague Victoria Hales, who prepared this ordinance. This ordinance got a favorable recommendation from our Planning Commission. One thing I should make clear for the record, this regulates only new development. This doesn't require retrofitting of existing homes. This applies to new development in the county. The second thing is this ordinance imposes minimal regulations on our single-family houses. So, for example, certain water fixtures, water sense fixtures, and recirculating pumps in residences, tree requirements, grass limitations based on lot sizes. Because the county has a lot of large lot sizes, the grass limitations in these code provisions apply only to the 1 acre footprint of the new dwelling and not to the entire lot. There are also several regulations on commercial projects and larger multiple family residential projects. So similar requirement for water sense fixtures and a recirculating pump, grass only in active recreation areas. New golf courses have to use secondary irrigation water. New car washes have a limitation of 35 gallons or less per vehicle, which is an industry standard, and small water features are okay, but not large water features. So your ask to approve this ordinance today, Commissioners.
Very good.
Can I point out that even HOAs cannot enact bylaws or governing documents that affect only the HOA if it stands in conflict with,
Correct.
and so this will supersede. Normally, we don't enforce their, codes and restrictions anyway, but they have to comply.
Correct.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, this is just, we all understand this, but when we say new development and everything, this is, it's not saying that you can't have anything. It's not saying that you can't.
Right.
For anybody who's wondering, well, I can't have grass anymore. No, 2,000 square feet of grass is actually a fair amount of grass. And we want to have beautiful communities and beautiful places to live and maintain our quality of life. We just want to make sure that we're doing it as effectively and efficiently as possible with our water, which is a very sacred resource right now. So,
Very.
with that, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve ordinance number 2022-1206-0, adopting and implementing regulations for landscaping and water conservation for developing land in Washington County.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Our next item is consideration of resolution R-2022-2939, a resolution proposing the annexation of the town of Apple Valley into Ash Creek Special Service District for sewer service. And so Ash Creek currently serves the communities of Herc and Laverque and Tokerville, and Apple Valley is requested to be included in that special service district. Their board has also weighed in on this, and so I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Our next three items, item 8, 9, and 10, are all similar except for with different communities and regarding our Ironman, agreements with them for Ironman. And our own Brittany McMichaels is here to explain it to us, so.
Thank you. So these are just the host agreements with Ivans, Hurricane, and Washington for the years of 22, 23, 24, and 25, just outlining what each community agrees to do in regards to the host agreement with the Ironman for both the full distance and the 70.3 events.
Very good. Well, thank you. Commissioners, with your permission, I'd like to suggest that we vote on item 8, 9, and 10, resolutions R-2022-2943, resolutions R-2022-2944, and resolution R-2022-2945. And that is my motion.
I'll second. Oh, go ahead. I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to adopt these three items as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I also want to comment that in Ironman's history, they don't necessarily cover all of these municipalities. If they're in Tennessee, Charlotte, Chattanooga, they operate all in Chattanooga. But I appreciate the cooperation of other communities to say, okay, now you're in Hurricane. Okay, now you're in Washington. Okay, now you're in St. George. And so to pull this off is tradition of our, Washington County getting things done. And so please thank the other cities when you see them. Thanks.
Absolutely. And I think Brittany and Kevin have done a great work in being out there and making sure they're all included. I'd like to make a motion now that we amend our agenda again and basically take on item 13, which is the commissioner's report, and then follow it by item 12 because of the possibility of needing to go into a closed session to do that last item. And that would be my motion that we amend our agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend our agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. We're now on to the commissioner's report.
Very briefly, for 3 years, I've been on the both behavioral health and our health department as part of Five County. And 2 years, they did not hold the National Behavioral Health Convention because of COVID. And so this year, I was asked to attend with other commissioners from all 5 counties, and I was so impressed. On the first day, all they ever talked about was everything was an acronym. So I had to learn their language.
Yeah.
After that, I can tell you that it's an amazing thing what we're accomplishing here for mental health, and I was glad that I went. It was an eye-opener really about what good work is being done. I just hope that everyone who feels the first signs of any stress and mental health seeks professional advice, because catching it early is how to prevent it from getting to the point where it becomes a harder thing to tackle.
Absolutely. I had an opportunity to attend those conferences before. It's some of the best conferences I've attended. And the one thing, though, that you do take away is how much good we are doing here, because sometimes you go back expecting, hey, somebody's got to have better ideas than us. And often I think we find ourselves at the cutting edge.
Well, and
So-
they talked about things like, hey, if the police pick somebody up or the sheriff picks somebody up and there's obviously a mental issue, they're usually taking them to places where it exacerbates the problem. Whereas in Utah, and especially here, this receiving center will be cutting edge. And I can tell you that with Mike Deal, our director, after sessions, we would sit down and we'd kind of have a checklist and say, okay, we do that.
Yep.
Okay, we do that. So it confirms what you said, because we're doing it.
Yep. Commissioner?
Just briefly, I would say numerous meetings this last week and last night included World Trade Center, Economic Development Council, and others. It had some really interesting information. I did not realize in Utah, we think of ourselves as rural because we're way off the Wasatch Front. Some of the other rural counties don't think of us quite as rural as they are, but I think we still are. And because we're treated that way by Salt Lake. But when you talk about the inland port and the hub and spoke model of economic development and of manufacturing and of transportation, all those things that are going on right now and working out, that 50% of all of our jobs have an international, in Utah, we're exporting those goods somewhere else. We're already a very international state compared to what the public perception is by many people. And there's a lot of really good things going on. And that I think we're going to see more and more grow down here. And there's a lot of effort from the state, and we're gaining more attention, garnering more I don't know if you other than attention, I guess more just focus from people that say, you know what, that actually is a place that while we love to live there, we love to go recreate there, this is a place that we can do business in. And the World Trade Center event last night, again, was just a reiteration of that point that, hey, this is where we said, look, you're bringing these ambassadors and these consulate generals from around the world. How come they're not coming to Washington County? They always go to Salt Lake. And they said, we've never thought. And I said, well, where's your Zion National Park? Oh, that's a good point. I said, we have a reason to come down here.
Yeah.
Bring them here. It's a lot easier to come here than Salt Lake. And so they committed that they'd be doing more of that in the future. And this is a place that people do want to live, recreate, and work.
Fabulous. Well, and what I'd like to announce is that we're going to have a county fair. I hope everybody knows that. In fact, if you feel a little urgency in my voice, it's because we need to make it to the parade in Washington City, and we're kind of excited about that. We'd like to encourage everybody to go out and participate in that, catch some candy. We're going to be having that going on. And we kicked off this weekend as a part of the county fair, a rodeo, had two great rodeos. And on Saturday, we had a special needs rodeo, which was just a beautiful thing as these young people were able to come out and participate. And some of the pictures capturing the joy of these young people was a lot of fun. And so we'd like to encourage everybody to go on to washcofair.net and see what we have out there, and then come out and participate. There's just a lot of events that I don't have time to go into now, but County Fair is on, and we expect it to be extremely successful. So,
With that, Chair, I move that we go to closed session for the purpose of discussing our real estate contract for acquisition.
very good. I have a motion on item 12 to move into closed session in order to discuss a real estate transaction. Do I have a second?
And a second.
And a second. At this time, all those in favor of going into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. We're now going to be going into closed session.